Cool. Well, hey, I know I'll keep this quick. I want to keep this under half an hour. So I just have a few questions and we'll go from there. So I love, first of all, I've seen your YouTube stuff, your YouTube content that you create. I think it's like super authentic. You really give a nice picture of what it's like to work in the industry. I love that. So I'm just wondering, what made you want to start the YouTube channel? Or like, how's it going? First of all, like, how's the YouTube channel coming along? And why did you get started?
Yeah, no, the channel's going pretty great, actually, way better than I ever expected it to go at first. It was a little bit of a combination of like COVID, like being at home a lot more, having more spare time. I was bored with the hobby that I had at the time, because I do that, I hobby hop all the time. So once I'm bored with one, I go on to the next one. And then also there was this competition that I wanted to enter to win a laptop. So I had to make a video for that. And I won with the video, which was on my YouTube, and it did really well. So I was like, hey, I can do this. And then I just kept doing it.
So it kind of just snowballed from there.
Yeah, wasn't planned, it just happened.
That's fine. And so, but now as it's getting bigger, do you start like planning your videos out more, or are you kind of just like, I think I'm going to do this video today, and kind of keep it fluid, no real plan?
Not at all, no. I'm a super planner. Everything I do gets planned, like from beginning to end, completely. Everything is planned.
Really?
Yeah.
I need some advice on that. I'm a horrible planner. Working in the animation industry, I'm so surprised that I'm actually getting work done, I'm a horrible
That is surprising.
Yeah. So what exactly do you do in the industry? Like, where do you work? How did you kind of get to where you are now?
So I am head of department for a media agency. We do a lot of stuff. A lot of our focus right now is on virtual reality stuff. Like also again, since lockdown, the virtual reality world has really taken off, because it's another way for people to connect as if they're in the same room together. So we do a lot of that sort of stuff. It's super popular now. But I do 3D, 2D, motion graphics, everything really. I get bored very easily, so I like to do as much as possible of every different thing.
So you kind of don't really specialize. You've done everything. You kind of like to.
Yeah, I'm not a specialist. Yeah. No.
Do you like, would you recommend that? Is it just kind of your personality, or like, say there's like a beginner coming up in the industry, would you recommend they specialize in something first and then kind of branch off? What do you think?
I think it does depend on your personality. You're a specialist, right? You do 2D.
Yeah, I just do 2D character animation.
Yeah, so it really depends, I think, because for me, it's worked out really well. But I did actually, when I started, I wished that I had specialized, because I really wanted to just be a 3D character animator. And then I wanted to do 2D animation, and then I wanted to do motion graphics, and then I wanted to do everything else. So it actually worked out well for me in the end. But I think it's a matter of your personality. It's a matter of where you want to end up. If you obviously want to work in film and you want to animate characters and that's what you want to do, then specialize. Otherwise, if you get bored easily, if you like doing everything like I do, then generalize.
Makes sense. And I guess like in today's world, it's just a matter of you learning the skills, right? It's so accessible to learn anything. So if you just put your mind to it, you can get those skills, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's
awesome. And I guess it would make you a little more useful in a studio as well. Because I find when I was an animator, learning Toon Boom Harmony, like learning scene planning stuff, helped me in my animation, because I would understand how the scenes were put together, or like learning rigging or something would help me, because I could understand how the rigs were made, which made my animation a little bit better.
Exactly. Yes.
So how long you've been working in the industry? I think I saw your video on YouTube, like 5-6 years or something.
It's 10 years.
10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Way off.
Yeah.
Jeez. That is insane. That's awesome.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what was your first like push to get into animation?
Okay. Yeah. So it's not going to sound great. It's not like it was my lifelong dream or anything. I actually wanted to do fine art and be like an artiste, And then I was like, I'm not going to get a job doing that. So then I was like, what else can I do that's creative? I don't want to be a graphic designer because it looks kind of boring. Like, I don't want to be doing like product shots and stuff for life.
Yeah.
So then animation just seemed fun and exciting. So I was like, sweet, I'll do that.
That's so awesome. Like, you just liked it and went into it.
Yeah.
So how is the animation industry in South Africa right now? Like, I know nothing about it.
It's kind of started snowballing in the last few years. It was very small when I first came into the industry. It was very difficult to get a job. There weren't a lot of studios.
Hmm.
But it has really picked up a lot. There's been a few government initiatives as well to put a lot more money into it that I've been involved in to try and sort of boost the industry a lot because they've seen the potential now. So it's
Yeah.
definitely getting a lot better. And with like studios like Triggerfish and stuff, they really helped to put us on the map like globally. So it's doing a lot better now in the past few years.
Wow, that's interesting. So what kinds of things, because I know in Canada that I'm just talking about like 2D, that's my kind of area, but things have shifted from mostly kids shows, and now people are starting to branch into that like adult animated series. Like there's a lot of that popping up around Canada. What is that kind of the same thing in South Africa? What kinds of content are these studios creating?
At the moment, it's still more like children's centered. There have been a few studios that try to do more adult stuff, but I think animation, like as an industry, it kind of needs to start for kids and then people get used to that. And then they realize, oh, but you can make stuff for adults as well. And I think we're still a little new. People don't want to be as daring, like studios don't want to put that money into something that might possibly fail because here it's still a little bit risque to like use animation for adult stuff, even though obviously we watch BoJack Horseman, we watch Rick and Morty and stuff, but we don't quite want to put the risk on ourselves to create stuff like that yet, I think.
So do you think, well, I'm just wondering now, because with the pandemic and stuff, people are obviously looking for more content. So do you think this is going to help push that along?
I hope so. I don't know. The industry is still new. People don't want to take too big of risks. Animation is still new here, so we can hope. I haven't seen any huge leaps this past year because of it, really. There's a lot more people working on their own personal projects, like their own IPs and stuff, but that's like individuals or little groups. I haven't seen any like big studios coming out with like way more content or anything like that.
Interesting. Let's talk about now actually working in these studios. So you have a lot of videos about like making demo reels, going for interviews and stuff like that. I actually just watched one that you posted on LinkedIn the other day. But what are some tips? Because I remember when I got into the studio, my first studio, it was like so shocking to me. Like the pace was fast, the deadlines were crazy. I just really wasn't expecting it. So what are some tips that you can give beginner animators to succeed once they get in the studio? What do you think?
I think a main one is to expect it. Expect the long hours, like know that it's going to happen. Don't be like shook when it happens. That's what I try to like let people know in my videos is that it is tough. You're going to work hard. You're going to do long hours. But also just try not to get too invested and like personally and emotionally in the stuff because it's very difficult. Like as a creative, you put like your soul into it, especially when you're first starting out. You really want to impress people. So you put everything into it. And, director comes back and basically tells you to scrap everything and start over. The best thing you can do is just to leave your ego behind. It's nothing personal. It's work. It's just work. So put your ego behind and at the end of the day, go home and don't think about it. Don't stress over it. Don't like go back and think about how you should have like refined the shot and stuff. Like just do work in work hours, do the best you can, but don't make it like a personal thing. Don't put your heart and soul into it so that when you get like a critique or something, you can take it on board and you can do it professionally without getting emotionally like hurt by it.
Yeah, like because I guess it can be pretty crushing. Like, because every shot you do, it's guaranteed you're gonna get a revision, and not even like a pretty big revision sometimes. So that's actually a good way to think. How do you? No, this is what I was gonna ask you. How do you go about networking?
Well, I used to go to these meetups. They have like animation meetups and stuff in the city. It's called an animation exchange. So I used to go to those.
Like in person ones.
Yes, like real people talking to them face to face with other professionals and stuff. But to be honest, I hated it because I'm very socially inept. I'm not good socially at all. So I stopped going to those. I did meet a few people, and then a few years later, I went to like these sort of drawing meetups. It was a drink and draw sort of thing. So you go and like have a few drinks, you draw together, that sort of thing.
How
I
was
found that was a little bit better. It was just a lot more chilled, you know, because you're just hanging out
Mhm.
and like drinking and drawing. So I met a few like people, not so many animators, but a lot of like illustrators and other graphics industry related people. And I made some pretty good connections because obviously we all sort of intermingle industries anyway.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then this thing with the government initiative, I've met a lot of other professionals with that because we would go to meetings about it to discuss like what we can do and all that. So I met people there, and then now I'm on like quite a few Reddit's Discord servers are really good now.
Discord.
Yeah, Discord for me has been quite a good one. It just seems the conversation flows a lot more easily. Facebook groups. And then my YouTube channel now just seems to have opened me up to a lot more professionals in the industry. Like a lot of people just contact me now because they see me on YouTube. So that's actually been a really good way to network for me without me having to do much.
That's awesome. Do you post a lot of content on LinkedIn as well? Or is it?
Not really. I never used to, and then I just started sharing my videos on there, and then it worked.
See what happens?
Yeah.
No, cool. Yeah. I think it's important. You got to get your stuff out in front of people, or just get comfortable like dealing with people, even just a little bit, I think, right? Because that's a part of the job too, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people get into animation, I think, because they're not that social. I mean, I was like, I'm just going to sit behind a computer and not have to speak to anyone.
Mhm.
And then you realize, actually, it's not at all like that. And it's been a lot better for me since I got more sociable and I learned those social skills and I just came out of my shell a little bit. It's been a lot better.
Yeah, it's fun because a lot of the people are super nice. Everyone I've met has been really awesome and nice. So it's good to get to know people a little bit better. So then, since you are pretty senior, have you had to lead a team of animators or illustrators for a project? And how was that? How was making the jump from just animator to like director Robyn, you know?
I think it came naturally for me. So obviously I've been doing that for quite a few years now. It's been, I don't know when I became promoted and became like a manager and stuff. It's at least 5 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's just a natural thing for me. I like managing. I like having control, not in like a bad way. I'm not like controlling, but you know, it's something I enjoy. So it came naturally. So it's pretty easy for me, I think.
Yeah. And so you'd have to like critique people's work and give them feedback, right?
Yeah, I do. And I also do it for the rookies on their Twitch channel every Wednesday. So it's something it comes easily to me, and that is part of my job.
That's awesome. So do you have a strategy though to give that feedback? Like what kind of style are you? Are you direct, more like give a compliment, you know, give some constructive criticism? What do you think?
I am quite direct, but I try to do like a sandwich. So like you'll start with a compliment, then you give the feedback, and then you end with a compliment, because that way they don't feel like beaten down. So you're always going to find some sort of positive. There's always going to be some sort of positive that you can find. So if you can start with a positive, give the feedback, and end with a positive, then I think that's a good way to go about it, really.
Yeah, because I guess you want the animators as well to take pride in their work, right? Of course, there's a lot of steps that you have to follow when you're animating. Like there's a storyboard, you have to follow this, and this. But how do you kind of give them some creative freedom in a scene? Like how do you encourage that when they're doing a project?
I'm not sure, really. I mean, as long as they are following the beats in the storyboard and the key poses, they know that they have a lot of freedom. At least my team does. We have quite a good rapport. It's not like I'm a tyrant or anything. And it also depends on, you know, the client who you're making the animation for. Some of them are super pedantic, and it has to be very like straightforward, and you can't really bring in much personality or anything to it. So it really depends on the brief and the people you're working for. So yeah, it really depends on that mostly, I would say.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that makes sense, right? And have you been dealing directly with clients recently? Recently,
I have. It's not necessarily what I usually prefer, but it has been a necessity sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the project. Sometimes they want to be in like the technical discussions and stuff, so then I would obviously need to be in there. Sometimes they just want to speak to the creative director and they're fine with that. So again, it depends on the client. when necessary, I do.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that because I'm always on the end, the animator's end. I have nothing to do with any of the client stuff. I was curious. You are probably very busy, like we were saying. You came from a couple meetings and stuff. Do you have time to do your own personal projects at home, or do you find you need that to kind of like relax after a long day of work to tackle some personal projects? Or do you find when you get home, you don't want to look at a computer, you don't want to look at any animation, you're just totally burnt out?
No, I have like a problem. Like I have to be doing some sort of personal creative project at all times, or I get extremely depressed.
That's
Like
awesome.
no jokes, I do. It's just, I don't know, it's something I have a bit of an issue with, always feeling like I'm being productive, furthering myself creatively, and just having to get that like energy out. Because obviously working on other people's stuff all day is not ideal. It's not like, I wish I could just work on my own stuff all the time. So I have to get that out some way. So I'm always, no matter what, anytime anyone speaks to me, I do have a project going on. Whether I get time to spend on it though, like with work and with the YouTube videos, it takes me months and months to do any sort of animation project or any sort of, you know, practical artistic project apart from the YouTube videos and work.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, these YouTube videos. It's surprising. So what projects do you have going on now? Can you like talk about them, or are they, you know,
No,
not ready
yeah,
to see
I
the
mean,
light?
it's nothing like serious. I'm working on like an animated short. It's about a snail and a hardy-dar, and I did like a song for it.
Like you
And
wrote the song for it.
yeah, it's basically like a music video to the song sort of thing. So I'm busy working on that, but it's taken me so many months. It's disgusting, actually. It's taken so long.
Yeah,
And then I
it's
had to
hard.
learn how to like use GarageBand because I had to make the music for it. And I always just get so worked up and like, I do way too much. I do way
Yeah,
too much.
that's okay. At least you're like a master of, or what is it? Master of none? No.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm a master of none. Yeah, I dabble in everything, but I'm a master of none.
This is it. Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. That's awesome though. That's good to hear that you keep busy, because even personally, I find it super hard to, like, I love doing my own personal projects, but it's like, when am I gonna have time? Like I work from like 8 till 8 sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right, I
To
know.
find that.
It's so difficult. It's painful, actually.
And I was just thinking too the other day, like, thank God I like my job, basically.
Yeah.
Like I chose to do this. Thank God I like it, or else I wouldn't. It's not sustainable working these long hours.
It's really not. Yeah, I'm also very grateful that I'm not just like a pencil pusher at a desk or something, because I would not be okay.
Yeah, not at all. That's the good. I like every day is something new, I guess, in animation in this industry. Always a new challenge. It's never the same every day.
Yeah.
That's everything from me. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. Hopefully, once I get a little bit more, you know, organized with what I'm doing, we can do this again, and we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Okay.
All right, Robyn. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Nice meeting you.
You too. Cheers.